All right. Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shauna Carlson. I'm with Jove. I'm here with Jeff Rothberg, also from Jove, bringing STEM to life by supporting 3D learning with videos and quizzes. Before I jump in and introduce ourselves a little bit, I just wanted to give everybody a quick heads up that we know Teacher Appreciation Week is next week. And as a thank you, we want to give everyone access to over 20,000 quizzes and videos available in the Jove Library during Teacher Appreciation Week. So if you're able to stay with us until we get closer to the end of this presentation, we'll give you the information so that you can sign up and get your access to all the videos and quizzes for free. So with that, I'll jump into this. It's great to meet you all. As I mentioned earlier, my name is Shauna Carlson. I'm here in Scottsdale, Arizona. I've got about 13 plus years in the education industry, more than that in marketing. I've got some background in ed tech and education marketing, as I mentioned, and I'm really passionate about helping you all bring science to life with multimedia and inquiry-based strategies. Who will be your main presenter for the remainder of this presentation.
Thank you, Shauna. So yes, hi, I'm Jeff Rothberg. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina now, and I've spent 17 years in a classroom in some capacity or another, whether it was in Broward County or in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools, and I taught multiple subjects. I spent some time as a school admin, which is why I have less hair today than I used to when I started teaching. And I am true. It's true. It does say on the slide. I am very passionate about bringing hands-on learning and high-quality STEM resources to life. I am very passionate about that. I'm passionate about all kinds of things, but anything education related is definitely a huge passion of mine. And I do enjoy supporting schools across the board, especially when it comes to enhancing the science instruction. I've been doing it for several years now, and I wish I had started it sooner. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm happy I spent 17 years, working in the schools directly, but I kind of wish I'd been doing this a little bit longer too, because I feel like my impact is much broader at this point. Anyhow, so that's me. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So let's get into what we're going to talk about today, because I'm going to do an awful lot of talking, and I do that a lot. But Shauna can verify I am not shy when it comes to talking. So here's what you can expect today. Today I'm going to do my presentation, and our objectives are one, I want to understand how STEM video and how STEM video and quiz resources align with the 3D framework for 3D framework of learning, which almost everyone is talking about these days when it comes to science curriculum. I'm going to share with you some examples of three-dimensional lessons that are enhanced by video content as well. We'll learn how to integrate these tools into lesson plans, labs, and assessments, and how you can use them in your day-to-day life and in all of your activities every day, if you'd like. And of course, we're going to explore ways to increase student engagement and retention through multimodal learning as well. Okay, but before I get into everything, I do have a poll that I would like to share with everyone because I'd love to see where you're all at before I even get into everything. So I do have a poll, and I will switch it over to the poll question so you can see what it looks like and make it interactive. So, where are you in your journey of integrating three-dimensional learning into your science instruction? This is a nice little mix we're seeing so far. For 41% at just getting started and needs support, as opposed to the 10% of regularly using it. And I see 28% are just getting started and 20% not using it at all. Okay. All right. This is a very interesting range. All right. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. So there are a great number of people who are just getting started, need support and using it or haven't started with it at all. And so I'm so glad you're here today because I will definitely give you some resources that will help you get started as well. So since we're just getting started, let's start at the beginning. Um, and do a quick refresher on exactly what is the 3D framework for learning. So the next generation science standards were built on the three-dimensional learning model. Now I know I specifically say next generation science standards, but I've talked with other states who don't necessarily adopt NGSS, and they're still using some version of the 3D learning framework as well. So this is definitely a universal idea. And the idea is that three dimensions are going to help to work together to help students think and act like scientists. And that's the idea. We want them to become the scientists. And the 3D framework, the three dimensions are their disciplinary core ideas, which are basically your fundamental concepts. The students need to understand the basics. And they're always usually organized into your physical life sciences and your earth sciences and engineering, but these are the basics, the basic idea. It's exactly how it sounds, disciplinary core ideas. It's the building blocks of everything. And then you move over to your cross-cutting concepts, and these are more of your ideas that cross exactly how it sounds. They cross across different disciplines. Um, so, for example, patterns, a cause and effect, things you're going to see in both physics and biology, for example. And the cross-cutting concepts are designed to help the students see the difference uh, between the different areas of science. And then we have our science and engineering practices. So this is really where students get to be the lead investigator. Um, and this is where what the scientists do. How are we asking questions? How are we analyzing the data? How do we engage the students in scientific inquiry and problem solving? So again, the whole idea is to turn our students into that lead investigator. We want them to be inquiry based. We want to spark curiosity. And I realize these are all the big buzzwords, but I believe in this. I think it's true. We do want the students to be doing this. And I'm partially saying this because I was a terrible science student when I was in high school. But at the end of the day, these three dimensions are designed to work together, they tie together, and everything is based around some sort of phenomena, which is our real world events or problems that the students are driven to figure out or learn more about or understand why it happens. And I will take us over to the next slide and I'll talk about how the phenomena directly connects to the three dimensions I just mentioned. So when I click ahead to the next slide, you're going to see the role of phenomena in 3D learning, again, is to give the students an example of a real world or an event or an observation that's going to get them interested. Look, here, it's right here on the slide. I even said in the previous slide, sparking curiosity. And here's again, I forgot it was on this very slide as well. The phenomena are our anchor for the instruction, and the assessment, and they give the context for the exploring the disciplinary core ideas and the cross-cutting concepts and the science and engineering practices. I'll use the acronyms from here out because it's a lot to say. Um, but it really goes back to the first thing, like when I was teaching, one of the questions I always hated whenever I was teaching was, Mr. Rothberg, why do I need to know this in real life? Why is this relevant to me? The phenomena answers that question, gives you a real life example. This is something that's in your face all the time and something to explore. And phenomena opens up lots of different ways. Like, for example, the examples I have below, which I'll share today, why does the sun appear to blink during a solar eclipse? Why do plant cells look different from animal cells? Why does a dropped object fall to the ground? Why do you have inertia when you're swinging? All kinds of things. Like, why do all animals have eyes? Like, why is that similar across all of us? There's all kinds of things you could do to bring into the classroom to get the students interested. And there's so many different ways for teachers to introduce the phenomena on top of it. So it's not just, I mean, you could literally just go outside and say, what do you see? That's always fun. But teachers tend to introduce phenomena through video clips, through real world news stories, images, hands-on demos, and when they're selecting this phenomenon, the key is to figure out what's observable, what's relevant to the students' lives. What do they need to see? Like, why does it make sense to them? And is it rich enough to explore the multiple dimensions of the sciences? The strong phenomena is going to invite students' curiosity and really sets the stage for a meaningful inquiry where they're going to ask questions and you can explore it and build off of it and go from there. All right, so I will continue on because, like I said, I do talk a lot today. All right, so why does 3D learning matter? Okay. Now I know I have on here that it promotes deeper understanding, it encourages inquiry and problem solving, it builds transferable science skills, and that's all true. And I will dig into those a little bit deeper in a second, but I want to go back to when I was in 10th grade because I've got a little story. Because I was in science when I was in high school, and this was, let's just say it was a couple years ago. Let's say it was a couple years ago. I remember my 10th grade biology teacher, his name was Mr. Carr. And I remember Mr. Carr, and all of my friends remember Mr. Carr. We still talk about Mr. Carr to this day because his class was absolutely insane. He was a character. He told crazy stories. He was funny. But what he did was is every single day was a quiz show, basically. That's all we did every single day was we played a game, and it was the quiz game. And it started out on the first day, we'd be in chapter 7 of our biology book. We'd have the book open in front of us, and he would literally go down the list of the class roster and call out a student name and ask a question that's on that page of the book. And we had to answer the question. And we got points every day for how we answered the questions. These points were our grades. I'll also just point out that he was doing this out loud. So if you didn't answer the question, the whole class knew you got it wrong or didn't know it or weren't paying attention. So he really kept us on task because nobody wanted to be embarrassed like that. I like the reaction to that. Yeah, it was crazy. It was wild. But every day, it was that. It was a trivia game every single day. Answer the questions. Eventually, we would transition from having the book open in front of us to having the book closed and doing the same thing. And then we had to do it and answer the questions without the book in front of us. And then eventually, we actually have to take a written assessment and regurgitate all this information back out to him, right? So that's what 10th grade biology was like for me. Now, I just told you everything I remembered from 10th grade biology. I couldn't tell you anything about the content because once I took that test, gone. I didn't remember anything. So really what he was doing was teaching us to take the test, prep and and memorizing and regurgitating content, and that's all it was. I didn't know anything about how to apply it or go from there, and that's what it was like. It was the opposite of what three-dimensional learning is today, and I wanted to share that for context because I didn't get any of this. I didn't get a deeper understanding of anything I had in high school biology. I never did inquiry, I never did any problem solving, although I think we did dissect a frog, but I think everybody dissects a frog at some point. And I didn't pick up any skills in that unless I really want to host a game show. Let's be honest. That was really what I learned in that was how to ask trivia questions. So that's why it matters. And I'm going to dig in a little bit more. So when I'm talking about promoting a deeper understanding, all right, when you're using NGS aligned strategies, the research shows that 77% of teachers say that NGS aligned strategies help improve student engagement. So in my case, I was engaged just to answer the question, not be embarrassed, but I couldn't tell you anything else beyond that. Building transferable science skills. Okay, well, again, back to the studies. These show that students that are exposed to three-dimensional learning demonstrate a stronger critical thinking skills and application skills as well, which is true because you've got to problem solve, you've got to figure things out, you're sparking curiosity, asking questions. In my case, it was I didn't want to get embarrassed. I wanted to answer the question, not be embarrassed in 10th grade. Um, and finally, encourage what is it? Encouraging inquiry and problem solving. Okay, well, students in the classrooms that are using 3D instructions, they report higher levels of engagement and self-efficacy in STEM subjects. So students, at the end of the day, have a better understanding of the content. They develop skills that are transferable to other areas in their lives, and it encourages inquiry and the problem solving. So that's why 3D really truly matters because it's going to give students not just the knowledge, but also skills that they can use elsewhere in their lives as well. Okay, I'm so used to just stopping and starting asking questions. I'm just going to keep talking. I'll take questions at the end, of course. But if you do have questions, feel free to put them out there, and if it's applicable at the moment, I'll certainly answer it too. Okay, so I know we're talking about video and the use of the role of multimedia and 3D learning, such as videos and news stories and that sort of thing. So, what is its role? Okay, the first one is really straightforward. It's going to bring abstract concepts to life. And I love the statistic that I just put on here that 94% of teachers say that videos help students better visualize complex science topics because they can see it. They can take an abstract idea and make it a concrete idea because they can see the relationship, see how it works, and it will stick with them a little bit better. I'll give you a good example. Again, I know that mitosis and meiosis have to do with the cell splitting and the cell coming back together. I don't know which one is which. I have forgotten which one is which. If I had had some sort of multimedia experience back in 10th grade, maybe I'd remember it to this day. So that's one reason. It's going to help a concrete idea. Sorry, strike that, reverse it. An abstract idea and make it more concrete. And at the same time, it's going to support a diverse set of learners, because students have different learning needs, different learning styles. They might not speak English all the time. And multimedia instruction shows to be a huge benefit to, English language learners or whatever the acronym is in your part of the country, because it changes from state to state. It'll help students with learning disabilities. It'll just help students who have different learning styles. Like I am a visual learner, whereas my sister is not. So she's very much an auditory learner. And finally, of course, it's going to encourage active engagement where students are going to want to be involved. They're going to want to do something. They're going to want to come to class, and really going to want to get involved and ask all these questions. And the students in these classrooms, like it says here in the slide, it shows that students using these video-based science tools have higher motivation and they're more on task in their classroom, which means they're involved, they're learning, they're engaged. And on a side note, students who are more motivated and on task are less likely to have behavior issues. So I will say that as a former teacher who taught middle school who had his share of behavior issues. And again, I did teach middle school for a long time, so I do still wake up in cold sweats and nightmares, and I still have the nightmare about not being able to control my classroom as well. Like it's been a long time, and I still wake up screaming from can't control class. Anyhow, I'll get back on task. So we do want the students to be on task. Clearly, I'm not the only one who still has that nightmare. All right, so I'll move on. So when we're looking for this content, because I know there's a lot of 3D classrooms, and we do want to open with phenomena, and video is a huge part of it because video is a very commonly used way to introduce phenomena. We need to take these videos and find them and then make sure they're aligned with the video and the quizzes to 3D learning. So we've got to look for resources that are aligned with the disciplinary core ideas that we have and the cross-cutting concepts, and then again with the science engineering practices. But here's the thing: we often find ourselves looking for resources. Well, where do we find these resources? Most of the time, we're looking online, and when we're online, we have to ask ourselves a lot of questions. All right, is this good content? Is it vetted content? Is it aligned to standards? Do I need to do the alignment myself? Is this a peer-reviewed kind of thing, or is this just some schmo on the internet who's posting his thoughts about what this idea is? So we do tend to have to do a lot of work when we're searching for it. Um, and it would be nice to find a library that had all of these, which they're out there. I'll get to those in a minute. I don't want to talk about that now, but that's the thing. We do have to look for content that is aligned to the 3D framework that's going to make sense for us, especially if it's in a digital format. Okay, now if I move on to the next poll, since I'm talking about multimedia and integration um, and finding these resources, the question is how often do you use video-based tools in your STEM instruction? Ooh, there's a lot of these. The people who use it jumped out in front, like I'd say yes, frequently, all the time, which is good. It's mostly frequently and occasionally. So, Shauna, what we have here is a group of people who really believe that using video-based tools for STEM instruction makes a big difference in their lessons,
I know, I can see. I like it.
which is really good to see. I'm happy to see that. That's probably why they're here today, which is great. Okay, so we have a lot of people who use it a lot, which is great. Which means I get to share more ideas with them. Oh, I wish they could talk too, just because I'm sure they have all kinds of great ideas that they've shared in the past as well. All right, so I do have my examples. So I will share a few examples. I'm going to share a middle school example, and then I'll share a high school example because the library I have access to is all middle school and high school. And the first middle school example, which I do have a video, which I'll get to in a second, is going to be all about the outer layers of the sun. And this, again, this is a middle school Earth and space science video, and I do have a quick little example of how to apply this to a 3D framework, what kind of phenomena we're looking for. But first, I'll show you the video, and then I'll go from there.
Have you ever considered what makes the sun shine brilliantly and light up our world? The sun's outer layers hold the answer that releases energy to make it shine brightly. The three outer layers include the photosphere, chromosphere, and bright corona. Its innermost surface layer is the photosphere, the part we see shining in the sky. Even though incredibly bright, it is one of the coolest layers, at about 6,000 degrees Celsius. This is where the sun's visible light is released.
And I just say I love the video at 6,000 degrees Celsius because I do not have a concept of how hot 6,000 degrees Celsius really is. I just know it's really, really, really hot. Anyhow, so to move on. So I showed you the quick video clip. The actual full video is more like a minute and a half long, which goes in a little bit more detail about the sun's layers. However, what are some of the phenomena that we could ask here in the beginning? So the video opened with a question about the sun's layers and why is the sun so bright. You could ask, why does the sun appear to blink during a solar eclipse, revealing a glowing ring around the moon? For those of us who got to see the solar eclipse when it came through a few years ago, or last year again, because it came across again. My sister got it in Arkansas where she lives. And if Allison was here in North Carolina when it came through in Charlotte a few years ago, it was a big deal, and we all got to look up in our classes. But anyhow, so the point is that what kinds of phenomena-based questions are there, and then you can use the video, show the layers, and then we have the quiz itself. We've got a little quick sample of the quiz here, which is a quiz labeling the sun's outer layers and explaining the visibility and the function of the photosphere, the chromosphere, the corona, so on and so forth. Now, keep in mind, the quiz doesn't necessarily have to be a full-on quiz. It could be a check for understanding. It could be verbal. It could be handwritten. Now, there's lots of ways to incorporate quizzes as well. But at the end of the day, the real question is how do we use the three-dimensional learning part of this, which is what I have on the next slide. How do we apply the three-dimensional learning and use this video with it, and how are we going to explore the sun? So the first thing I will point out is our disciplinary core idea does have the standard attached to it. which is all about developing and using a model of the Earth, Sun, and the Moon systems and describe the patterns and the phases and the eclipses and all of that fun stuff, which quite frankly, I'm glad this example is here because I loved this. This was like the one thing I loved about when I was in school, learning about all these things. But you get to look at the core concepts here, like how the sun rotates, how the the sun and the moon are all related to each other, why the moon has the phases, and again, it's all related to this. You can answer all these questions with these core ideas and also come up with other types of phenomena-based questions. I know that I just said we're talking about the photosphere and during a solar eclipse, but you could ask again, why does the moon have phases? Again, it's all related to the same core idea here. And our cross-cutting concepts, this the solar system, you can model it. You can use an interactive system. Its observable effects on the Earth, such as the moon phases again. Um, and our science engineering practices, which is the most fun part in my personal opinion. I love the engineering practices and what we're doing because this is where we're driving inquiry and acting more like scientists and really trying things out, and we're asking questions and defining problems. And the examples here are creating a diagram showing how an eclipse reveals the different solar layers. We can ask them, what makes only certain layers visible during an eclipse. And then we can look at the problems and define them, like how do scientists improve tools to better observe the solar phenomena, which is a lot of fun. And then you can even take it a step further, like, all right, what kind of tools do we have to observe solar phenomena? How do they work? How can we improve it? How can we make it better? Why do we have to wear those glasses when the solar eclipse comes through? It's all that fun stuff are questions you can ask. But the point is that the video that we used in the beginning drives all this inquiry, and I'm saying this because it got my mind racing too every time I watch these videos. Like, what other questions could I ask here? So I keep adding all these different questions, and I'm still thinking of them on the spot as well. So that was my middle school concept, my middle school example of the suns and the layers. I do have a high school example as well. I'll do the same thing with the high school example, but the difference is with the high school example is it's a little bit more higher level. This one's going to be more centered around the cell theory and the different cell types. It's a quick little snippet of video. I'll explain more as we watch it, but I do want to show you the 30 seconds of the video that we have about cell theory and cell types, and then I'll go into again the lesson, the phenomena that we can explore here, and how it applies to three-dimensional learning. So let's look at the video really quickly, and then I will continue from there.
Life, from the largest organisms to the most minuscule, is comprised of cells. Cells are the building blocks for life and provide the materials needed for life to exist. While cells from all walks of life contain structures that are similar, such as DNA and protein, there are two different cell types based on how such structures are organized internally.
I did promise you it was a very, very short clip. It does go on to talk about the different cell structure between plant cells or prokaryotic cells and okay. There are different types of cells. I always mess up the word, so forgive me on that one. However, I know the phenomena that we have here is all about, why are cells considered the fundamental unit of life in all organisms, which is a very high level question, probably for your high level high schoolers. But what if we were using this for the beginning level high school students or even maybe eighth grade students? Then we have more basic level questions that would still lead us down the path of cell structure. For example, um, why do animals, humans have all these similarities? Like we all have eyes, ears, hair follicles. Oftentimes, why do trees and plants often have all these different characteristics that are similar? When it all goes right back down to the cell structure and how we're built from the ground up. So you can do that. So there's so many different ways to get started with different types of phenomena based on the needs of your students and where they're at the time. And you can share these video types and have the videos out there that give them the visual and show them the phenomena, give them a really good idea about what it is. And then again, we've got our quizzes as well. And the quizzes are designed to, again, check that they understand, get feedback and see what they already know. And oftentimes quizzes are really good backup tools to really check for understanding. And I'm not talking about a big formal assessment. Like, we have a 3-minute video, great. And then we've got a 4-question quiz related to it. What do you know? What did you pick up from it? And sometimes, if you really want to get an inquiry-based question, just ask them, what did you get from that? And leave it open-ended. And as a former teacher, which you all know, if you give the class an open-ended question where they can say whatever they want, they will tell you exactly what they're thinking. And that's always exciting. Anyhow, back on topic, because I did warn you I do go off topic a few times. Um, how do we apply the 3D framework to this particular video? Well, there's a few ways. And the first one is we do have our disciplinary core ideas, of course. And this, again, here's the standard, construct an explanation based on evidence for how the structure of cells contributes to their function and what they do. And then our cross-cutting concept, of course. The cells and their organelles reflect the role in their multicellular systems. And then our science engineering practices, again, so many different ideas you could do here. We're creating a model. We can create models to compare. So they're actually building and creating the different models of the different types of cells and what they're doing. There's so many ways you can create models. That's so much fun. You can analyze, students, like if you've got a microscope in the classroom, you actually have a chance to analyze the cells and look at them under a microscope. That is a really great way to turn your student into the lead investigator and look at the science of it. And you can also explain how structural differences impact cell functions as well. So there's lots of different ways you can do this as well. And this is just exploring the phenomena. I didn't even get into, labs and experiments and all those other ways that you can spark curiosity and use video for all of that as well. I'm really just focusing in on the 3D framework and the phenomena and all of that. Either way, what you're doing is using the 3D framework and the quiz and the video to kind of reinforce these ideas and the application of all these standards with the NGSS practices as well. Okay, so how have we done so far? So I've talked about the 3D framework. I've shared examples for both middle school and high school and watched a bit of videos. The real question is how do we use them in the classroom? And I know a lot of people are already using them because I remember the polls. So there's a lot of people who said that they're either regularly using it, or they frequently use it, or they're getting started using it. So I will give you some tips and tricks for how you can integrate some of these ideas into your classrooms. There's so many more than just the 5 that I have here. Because in my experience of working with teachers, if I get 10 teachers in a room, they'll come up with 100 different ideas to do the same thing, which is exciting. So the teachers are some of the most creative people on the planet. So here are some ideas that we can add to the tool bag. First things first, we can embed videos in lesson openers or for homework. And keep in mind the homework could be pre-work the night before. Here's what we're going to do tomorrow. Watch the video, come to class prepared. It could be after the fact. You could have a quiz attached to it. Or you could even I know lots of high school teachers tend to be lecture based and they want to have the video to go along with the lecture. So again, the students who are auditory learners are getting up the lecture, but the students who are visual learners have the video to back it up, and they do help each other out. You can use quizzes as formative assessments. I know you can do that, but you can also use quizzes as they're still formative, but you can use quizzes as check for understandings or as an exit ticket even, just to make sure students are on it. These might be small little changes, but they can have really large impacts on the classroom. And then, of course, there's pairing with hands-on labs for hybrid engagement. I know I just mentioned this a minute ago, because if you pair a video with a hands-on lab, you're doing 2 things. One, you're turning a video, which can be really passive. You consume a video, you watch it. It's a very passive sort of way to learn, which is not a bad thing, but that limits it. But when you're pairing it with a hands-on lab, for hybrid engagement, you're turning this passive tool, such as the video, into an active tool with the video. And in my case, if I had a video showing me the lab as I was doing the lab, and again, this is not 10th grade, I'm in 11th grade now where I actually got to do stuff. And if I'd had a video showing me what the lab was supposed to look like as I was doing the lab myself, I would have training wheels, a way for me to use the video to help me do better on the lab itself that I was doing in the classroom, and so on and so forth. You can integrate with existing standards-based units to reinforce core ideas, and what that means is that I'm well aware that every school has some sort of curriculum they're using for science. They have a scope and sequence that they're following, but their teachers are always looking for resources to add to their units. They're looking for a resource here and a resource there, and they want to find a video to show this phenomena, for example. They're trying to find a video of this lab because Billy, Sue, Bob was absent today, and they need to see it, and they weren't here, and all of that fun stuff. They're always searching all over the place, and the problem is, back to my original point, they're finding things on resources that are not vetted, maybe not peer reviewed. They don't know if it's good, so they keep looking all over the place. But if you have a library where you can pull from, great. You can integrate it directly with what you're doing and run with it from there. And then finally, you have encouraging student-led exploration to tie to real-world phenomena. So I know I've been a little bit repetitive. The important thing about phenomena is having it based in the real world, so the students understand it, it's relevant to them, it's something they see every day, and something they can explain, of course. So these are some of my tips. I'm sure you have some of your own strategies, and if you do have some of your own strategies, please put them in the chat. I would love to hear what you all have to add to this as well. I was going to talk about the idea of the benefits of multimodal learning, and I've been hinting at it the whole time when I talk about incorporating videos and quizzes in the classroom, because incorporating a video is going to make things a little bit more multimodal. So the idea behind multimodal learning, the benefits of it, and using a video in the classroom to help drive a point home or introduce a phenomena, is it's going to, like it says here, increase engagement. It's going to help you improve retention. So it's going to support your visual and auditory learners. It encourages differentiation, which I'll just say it like that, and it appeals to students with different learning needs and different learning styles. So I know I said multimodal learning, but it's again not just a buzzword. I know it sounds like a buzzword, but it really does. It takes the idea of combining your visuals, your text, and your interactivity, which is going to help your students learn and retain information. It's going to be much more effective to them because it's going to really ensure that different types of learners are going to get what they need based on what their learning style is. Some students need to see it, some students need to hear it, some students need to do it, and some students need a combination of all those things for it to really sink in. And that's okay. That's how we do it. The multimodal learning is going to help you hit the needs of all of your students. Because when it's used intentionally, it's going to support your equity, your accessibility, and really promote a deeper understanding of the content that you're trying to get these students to understand. And back to my original point, it's going to give them transferable skills that they'll be able to use for the rest of their lives as well. Which, as teachers, that's our main thing. We want these students to become better people. Here I am getting all choked up talking about helping students, and I haven't done it in a long time, at least not directly. Okay, so tips for administrators. So if there are any administrators on, I'd like to say hi. I was one of you at once upon a time, which means I know that you're probably multitasking. You've got emails going over here, and you've got a referral over there, and you've got parents waiting for you and all that stuff. So give me 2 minutes for my tips for the administrators, and then I'll let you go back to your multitasking. So these tips are simple. When you're evaluating resource alignment with NGSS, when you're evaluating the resources, make sure they do align with the resources, make sure they do align with the framework that you're looking for. Um, it's always good to encourage collaborative planning time because um, in my experience as a school administrator and as a teacher, planning goes much better when I can collaborate with everyone else who's doing the exact same things we are. So we can share ideas and we can share what works, what doesn't work. I found this resource online that we can all use, that sort of thing. If you have a chance to offer professional development that focuses on 3D learning and any kind of tech integration, I say go for it. Teachers will appreciate it, especially if it's offering continuing education credits. Teachers really like it when they have that to go along with it. But there's always a good professional development focused on three-dimensional learning that teachers can be happy to have. And if you have a collaborative planning time, that is the perfect time to have this professional learning that's going to support and so you get what I'm saying. And finally, the last one is near and dear to me. Promoting a school-wide culture of inquiry and exploration. I say school-wide because it doesn't necessarily have to just be in science classes where we're promoting inquiry and exploration. Ideally, we want all of our teachers to look for promote inquiry and exploration, whether they're teaching English, reading, history. I was a theater teacher at one point. I was always promoting inquiry in my classroom. So there's always ways to do it. And that is definitely a way for the students to really get the idea of continue to be curious after they finish middle school and high school. If they go to college and finish college and go on in life and still be curious and become lifelong learners. Okay, administrators, you can go back to your multitasking now. Thank you for the few minutes. Okay, so finally, we do our final takeaways because I've been talking for 36 minutes straight, I think, at this point. So our final takeaways are one, 3D learning is real learning. The three dimensions, the DCIs, the CCCs, and the SCPs, they do work together. They build deep transferable skills. I've probably said that at least 3 times without being prompted because I really believe it does work. Phenomenon driving our inquiry. If we have a real world phenomenon or real events that we can ask questions about that relate to the students, that's going to spark their curiosity. It's going to connect to their lives and also connect to the 3 dimensions in a very meaningful way for them. Using quizzes and videos are powerful tools to use in the 3D framework because the multimedia is going to support all of our learners, increase our engagement, help make complex ideas more concrete, more visible, more memorable. And I'm going to go back to my other point. they're going to be more engaged and on task, which means they're going to be more behaved at the same time, which again is always a really important thing to have. If students aren't behaved, nothing else is going to happen. And of course, I do like to say it's easy to integrate because you can embed videos into your current lessons, into you can use quizzes, you can use formative checks, you can connect to learning management systems, you can pull resources that are vetted, and you know exactly what you have to work with. So very easy. All right, so I do have one more poll related to this, and I know the poll question. Oh, there, that was really quickly. What would most help you adopt more 3D learning strategies in your classroom? Then we have our ready-to-use templates, multimedia resources, professional development, and so on and so forth. I don't need to read them all to you. Donna, if you had given me an option to bet on this, I would have gone with access to multimedia resources coming on into the lead.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I
agree.
would
Or I don't know. They're all. I feel like everybody could use a little support and everywhere. But yeah, it looks like that's a big area.
it is a big area, and ready-to-use plans or templates. Again, here's the common theme though amongst these, because I'm looking at ready-to-use lesson plans or templates, which is at 29%, multimedia resources at 50%, and more time for planning and collaboration at 13%. To me, all three of those you kind of center around the idea of making the teacher's life easier. I mean, because if you have all of these things, or have all of these three things, your life is going to be considerably easier. Now, don't get me wrong. Professional development, training, administrative support are going to make your life easier too, but those are more long term. So, all right, thank you all for sharing. That was some great answers and great sharing. Okay, so now I'll take it to questions Q&A. Now this is where you get to put me on the spot and ask me any questions you want, preferably that are related to the content we just talked about. Okay, let's see. Shauna, do we have any questions that came in yet? I know there's a couple.
Yeah, it looks like we've got one in the chat here. We're told if we aren't following the scripted curriculum, we aren't doing what we should be doing, and videos equal not teaching. Any kind of thoughts on that? It's not a specific question, I guess, but
Hmm. Can you say that one more time? 'Cause that is a great comment.
So it's from Janelle, and she said, we're told that if we aren't following the scripted curriculum, we aren't doing what we should be. Videos equal not teaching.
Well, okay. Historically, I've heard that. However, um, I understand the idea of a scripted curriculum, and I know lots of schools have them. Um, however, sometimes a 30-second video or a 90-second video can really add on to that scripted curriculum and really help students get the idea of what the concept is. My favorite example to this is I had a teacher just last year who created a playlist of videos to review for final exams, for example. So it was at the end, it was review. It wasn't necessarily part of the scripted curriculum because it was at the end and they were preparing for exams. And she showed a 90-second video, and one of her kids actually said, "Oh, this is what you've been trying to teach me for 6 months. I get it now." So even though there is a scripted curriculum, there's always a place to add on to it. And if a school admin doesn't see the place in using multimodal tools to reach all of your students, then something might be missing. And I
Yeah,
would
and
say,
Chevin,
yeah, I would say if you're using a 20-minute video, yes, that's not teaching, but a 30-second video to show a concept, that's adding on to everything and making it better.
yeah, Chevin dropped into the chat as well that videos can be used in science as models. So that's
Yes.
another good way to connect it.
Yes, that's a great. You want to come work for us? That's a great answer. Thank you for that.
Yeah. So next question, there's one in here about help with cross-referencing standards across DCI, CCC, SEP with the Texas TEKS standards.
I gotta love Texas and the Teaks. So the thing about Texas is they tend to have just if you all don't know, Texas tends to have their own thing, which is fine. So I would say that if you are in Texas and you have to follow the TEKS, the good news is that the idea of the 3D framework is still built into the TEKS. It's just the wording is different, the framing of it is different, and a lot of it is still centered around the actual Texas standards. And so my advice in Texas is find a resource that's going to use science videos that are aligned specifically to the TEKS, and preferably the new TEKS, I should say, because I know they changed in the last couple of years. And if that's the case, if you find that resource that has the video that is already aligned to the TEKS, then you're still introducing the phenomena, but you've got the TEKS alignment already. The good news is that I have a solution for that, which I'll get to in a few minutes.
Next one up is, are there additional ideas to support English learners in science?
Oh my goodness, yes, there are. In fact, the thing about living in the United States is every single district, I should say not everyone, but almost every single district I've ever worked with has students who are not on grade level and have some sort of English language learners. It's just they all use some sort of different acronym. Um, so in our case, I would say that yes, the best case scenario is to find a multimodal resource that is one of two things. Either one comes with a translation tool, and many of them do. In fact, I have an example of one that does do that. Or if it's text related, if it's web based, most web based resources, can be translated into other resources. Um, I know Google Translate isn't the best translation tool, but many resources online that are made by curriculum companies will have a translation tool built into it, at least for the text. And if it's one that specifically worked with video, then hopefully you'll find one that has a lot of different options for video translation as well, and subtitles too.
Yeah.
Put a pin in that because I've got a solution for that too.
Okay. um, all right. From Judith, as an admin in your previous life, how do you get all admin on board?
Oh, wow. Okay. That is a great question. Um, so the real trick to getting other admin on board, there's a couple ways to do it. So one is to have as much evidence as you can to back up your claim. So if that's the first thing. So wherever you have the evidence to back it up, whatever kind of areas you need to cite and support to support your claim, that's the first thing. The second thing is if you have teachers involved, and especially if you have a group of teachers who really like what's going on and really like a specific activity or resource, um, they're the ones using it every single day. Like they're the voice you want as well. So those are the two things I would say: having your evidence, but also having champions working for you for your cause. So it's not just you by yourself in your opinion; it's a group of opinions, and they all feel the same way, and you have evidence to back you up.
So we've got two questions. They're kind of similar. I'm going to combine them, but if we need further clarification, then please let me know. But it's from, and excuse me if I mispronounce your name, Nadira and Allison, about using AI. So, can we use something like Magic AI or ChatGPT to help generate questions, or any other recommendations you might have on how to use AI to support 3D science teaching?
It's funny. I wish you'd have come to our EdWeb 2 months ago because that's exactly what we did. That was Shauna's bread and butter. She led the whole EdWeb webinar we did specifically based on using video and building AI lesson plans with it. And the short answer is you can do it. It's a great tool to get you started, especially if you're new to it and you don't want to write it from scratch. Shauna, do you want to add to it? Because I know this was more your area
Yeah,
as well.
I'm happy to, because I use AI a lot on every day actually. And
Mhm.
our last webinar, I was the co-presenter on with it on AI, and it's a great tool and resource to utilize to help you either formulate your lesson plans and
Mhm.
incorporate 3D learning and your multimodal like videos and quizzes into it. And I would suggest and one of the tips I gave in that webinar was it's really all about what's called prompt engineering, which is what you're inputting into the like Chat GPT or Magic AI or whatever the case may be, to get the best output. And then also realizing that it's not always going to be 100% accurate. And if you're asking for any kind of statistics or supporting evidence and things like that, always double check it. And then you can keep going back in and reiterating and making adjustments to make it more relevant in real life. So that's what I'd say there. And then I think we have another one. Oh, the title of the last webinar. That is a good question. It was, I can pull it up really quick. I've got it in here. And it's also on EdWeb. It was, oh, that was in February. It was, how can AI help you build interactive STEM lessons students love? And so that was in February, and you can find the recording for that one also in EdWeb too.
Mm-hmm. Or if you ever see us live at a conference, we'd like to do that one in person too.
Yeah, well, we did that one live as a workshop, hands-on at NSTA last month in Philly. So, all right, I think that's it for our Q&A. We can keep moving.
Wonderful. We will keep moving, and I'll definitely get you all out of here on time. So thank you for that. Okay, so listen, here's the thing. So I know I kept referencing, a resource that we could use, and a resource that would certainly fit the bill for this. And so I will spend no more than 3 to 5 minutes sharing with you specifically how Jove can do this for you. Because Sean did mention at the beginning, we both work at Jove. This is our bread and butter, and we do create at Jove the videos that are scientifically accurate, engaging videos, for your science classes. And a lot of teachers definitely use Jove for their phenomena-based instruction, especially for the new middle school content that's coming out. And the whole purpose behind Jove's videos and our video library is to engage our students, boost our outcomes, and of course, save you all some time, because saving teachers time is a really, really big deal to us. And we do engage the students with our concept videos and our lab videos, and we go from there. Oh, I see people clapping already. That's great. So I'll just tell you really quickly. I'll show it to you really quickly in the framework of everything we've talked about. Jove does have our different share of lab preparations. We can differentiate and support students who need all kinds of additional guidance. In fact, I will say it right now because I know one of the questions already was about multilingual learners or English as a second language, whatever the acronym is in the state. Jove does do that. Our videos actually do translate into multiple languages, and the text will translate as well. And we're also very, very big on lab efficiency as well, because like using my example, if I had a video of the lab showing me what the lab is supposed to look like, it's going to increase my efficiency, and that's exactly what Jove's lab videos will do. In addition to that, you can also use Jove for your quick STEM shorts, your science experiments that will align to your curriculum, because it is, again, aligned to NGS standards, state standards such as Florida, and we are aligned to the TEKS as well, because I knew since I got the question specifically, I will say it specifically. And Jove is a science resource which covers middle school and high school, and it covers just about every subject you can think about that is going to be living in middle school and high school, even up to your AP and your research classes as well. If you log into Jove right now, this is how it looks today. It's going to change in a couple weeks, but during Teacher Appreciation Week for next week, this is how it's going to look. And right now I'm on the high school video page. And basically, Jove is going to give you that huge video library for your phenomena, for your experiments, and everything else you might need. And even, I didn't mention all the subject. You can see here just for high school, we've got biology, cell biology, all the way up to higher advanced level type stuff as well, which you can certainly use that too. And again, we have our concept videos, which are short, and these are great for introducing phenomena. They're great for explaining a concept. They're really good for giving the students a great visual. And all of these videos are short. They are maybe a minute to 90 seconds long, and they're very, very quick. And I'll just click on one really quickly. I will not play it for you. I already showed you some video clips. But I just wanted to give you a feel for what's on this particular video page right now. We've got the video itself, and then of course you can take this video and you can embed it elsewhere into a learning management system, or into a page or into a PowerPoint. If you want to share it and send it right to Google Classroom, you can do that too. It does come with the all the text and the summary as well. But I'm also going to point out that you can translate it into multiple languages as well. So I can translate the page, but I can also translate the actual video, the audio, into multiple languages, and the subtitles can mix and match as well. So if I actually if I had a student in my class who speaks German but wanted English subtitles, I can do that, or vice versa. I can do it in English with probably German subtitles, whatever I need. I can definitely mix and match it. And then, of course, to support all of our students, let's say they are English language learners, but they want to watch it in English and have the subtitles in English, but If they're anything like me who's trying to learn Spanish right now, I don't understand what people are saying unless they slow it down a bit for me. You can slow the video down as well. So if you need to slow it down, great, you can do that as well. And this is just the concept video, which again, great for phenomena, great for introducing a lesson, great for giving a quick concept. Our lab videos will do a little bit more than that. Our lab videos are designed to actually help you do the lab in classroom. So again, 3D learning, um, promoting inquiry, sparking curiosity, making your student the lead investigator. That's what our lab videos are designed to do. We want the students to have their quick little concept so they can see the concept again. And then we have a video for all of you, the teacher, the instructors. We've got an instructor prep video as well. So you got a video. So you know how to set it up. So you know what you need. You know how it's supposed to look when you're prepping the lab. And we also give you all the information you need to build the lesson plan around it and lesson materials and all that fun stuff. And then of course you have the student protocol. So this is the students doing the video. Like I described earlier, me having the video next to me as like training wheels. This is exactly what this is for. You can use it as training wheels so students can do it as they're going and stop and start and know what they're supposed to look for. But the important thing is that they're actually doing the experiment in real life in the classroom. They're being that lead investigator and they're actually doing it. Um, and they're going to make mistakes, which means they're going to have to problem solve, and they're going to have to train, and all of that. And I always joke when I always say this when I talk about sparking curiosity. I will always tell people nothing sparks curiosity like trying to figure out what the heck went wrong with your experiment. So that's the beauty of actually doing a lab in real life. A few other things that Jove also has to support you is we do have a quiz tool, so you can build quizzes, and in fact, all of our videos are going to come with a quiz tool, so you can take the video and just put it right into the quiz. But the beauty of the quiz is you can tweak it, change it, edit it, customize it however you want, and we also have, you can also build playlists. We can align to textbooks. We can build playlists for whole textbooks. We can build playlists for your course syllabus if it's a unique course. And again, we also have middle school content as well. Our middle school content is newer. We're still building it out. Eventually, when we are all finished, and right now the middle school content is here, and we've got some of our resources ready to go. The user experience looks a little bit different. But at the end of the day, to make everyone's life easier, the entire resource, probably by the summer, it's going to look a little bit more like this, where it's going to be a little bit more user friendly, a little bit more customized to your needs. And even so, when you see the videos, you'll see it specifically tells you it's a quick concept video, or if it's a lab video, what subject it's going to cover. And eventually, when you log into the resource, it'll be customized specifically to you based on your needs and your recommendations. It's going to give you videos recommended for you based on what you teach, what grade they'll be teaching, and so on and so forth. Most teachers tell me it's a very user-friendly resource. It meets their needs when it comes to 3D learning in terms of finding phenomena and finding resources that are going to align with their curriculum and their course and their scope and sequence as well. And I will let Shauna take it from here because I believe she's got the information on Teacher Appreciation Week.
Yeah, so I saw some stuff in the chat about getting the access. We love you all, our teachers out there. And so for Teacher Appreciation Week, we're doing a special for you all. And yeah, thank you, EdWeb team. They've dropped the link in the chat as well. If you go to that landing page or use your phone and scan this QR code, we will give you instant access right now to 5 free videos. And then beginning May 2nd, so a couple days before the official week starts, you will get free access to our full library in Jove. So 20,000 plus videos and quizzes within the Jove library. And then I'll try to keep this up for a little bit. You've got the link in the chat there so that you can access that. But let's say you love it, which we hope you do and know you will, and you want to keep your full access and maybe get a pilot set up at your school or something like that. We can extend it just by booking a quick 15-minute demo with us. And so this is just some more information on how you can book the 15-minute demo. You'll extend your access to the full library. We can set your school or district up with the pilot program as needed. It's pretty flexible. We can just set it up based on your needs there. So there's that information as well. And yeah, thank you again, EdWeb team, for dropping in that URL into the chat. But I'd highly encourage you to do the Teacher Appreciation Week if you can, because you'll really get the full experience there, and then you can continue on from that as needed. So we'll keep moving on here. Okay, we've got one more poll, and then we've got some housekeeping slides after this. So we'll pop that up there. It's really just asking you if you would like that personalized demo of Job. And also, it's something that you can think about as well after you've signed up for your access during Teacher Appreciation Week as well. So lots of options there. And then that's it. Thank you from myself and from Jeff. We appreciate your time and hope you learned a lot. And again, if there's any questions, you can always reach out to us on LinkedIn or visit us at job.com/schools for more information.